and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Now, you may hear someone scraping outside. Some kind person, and this is super kind, it's really snowed here today and all last night. It was unbelievable. And some kind person is out there right now clearing our car park. And I just think that's such a nice thing. Not just like the bit where their car goes. That's David texting me saying that they're on their way home. Not just the bit where their car is, but like the whole car park. And just how lovely is that? So yeah, some kind person doing that. So if you can hear the scraping, just think about kindness. This is the wrap up for the second half of the month of February. Femmeuary is February, which is a month where I've been reading all things written and celebrating women, which has been amazing, and I thank you all who joined in with this and just had a lovely time, because I really enjoyed it. It's definitely something that I'm going to do next year as well. So if you enjoyed it, then look forward to next year, because I just feel like it's something that we should definitely be doing, celebrating women and just having a lovely time. I read, I think it was 8 books in the first half of February, and I will link my my video for the books that I read in the first half of February, because in the second half I read 4, which is still good, and I'm going to wrap them up as I ordinarily would. But the first half of the month I just seem to be really in my flow much more. So I will start with this lovely short story collection called Make More Noise by a selection of authors such as Emma Carroll, Kieran Millward Hargrave, Ali Kennan, MJ Leonard, Sally Nichols, Ella Risbridger. I really like this. Simon bought me this as a Christmas gift, which is really sweet. This is all short stories to do with girls and just getting noticed, and there's some really nice stories in here about the suffragette movement told for a YA audience, which I found really accessible, and like I just really enjoyed them. I just found it all really good fun and like a jolly good jaunt. There was also some other stories. There's some stories in there about bullying and some stories in there about girls and friendship and things like that. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I think I gave it 3 stars. So yeah, I found this enjoyable and a really easy read, and lovely to sort of celebrate suffragettism. I almost said. David, we know you're on the way home. Suffrage for a younger audience, so would recommend, would definitely recommend. The next book I finished was Mary Beard, Women in Power, a Manifesto. This is a non-fiction book. I feel like this has been on BookTube a lot recently. Mary Beard, this is the first book that I've ever read by Mary Beard, and as a historian I was really interested, like as a sort of youngster, on the classical times and things like that, and this has been the first thing that I've revisited since I did classical civilization, which isn't completely linked with this, but is in a similar vein, as an AS level. So it was really nice to sort of revisit this and remember how much I used to enjoy it. Mary Beard's writing is really accessible, and I found these 2 essays really good, and I think I'll go back and reread them, because I feel like I'll get more from them the more I read. It was had some really good sort of photos and bits of evidence, I guess, to back up her essays, which were, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I just found it very enjoyable. The first one is entitled, let's have a look, The Public Voice of Women, and then Women in Power is the second one. So yeah, really enjoyed this, and I think this will be something that I like to revisit. I quite often have been reading the Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie sort of TED Talks that have now, the first one's the TED Talk, and then the second one is a letter she's written, one of her friends who's asked her how to bring up her daughter a feminist, and I quite often revisit those every year, and I feel like this is one that will slide into that category. And it's not even 100, oh, it's 104 pages long, is it? No, it's not, it's less than that. It's 97 pages long, so yeah, something that I'll definitely be revisiting, but very much enjoyed that. The next one is one that I really enjoyed, and I'm so pleased I read this, and I've actually bought the 2nd issue, and that's Paper Girls, Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. Who is the guy behind Saga. This I really loved. I bought this for bought this for David for a Christmas present, and off the back of, I think I watched a video which was if you like Stranger Things you will like this, and David loves Stranger Things. I've never seen Stranger Things, but this was compared to Stranger Things, and not having watched Stranger Things I didn't really know what to expect, but I feel like I really wanted to read it, and a lot of people had said to me it was a really good sort of girl power read, and I loved it. I really loved loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I read it on Femmeuary Cozy Reading Night, and it is David. Oh, he's almost home. He's almost home. It is a book about 4 paper girls who one night some sort of apocalypse happens, and they're at the centre of it, and they're great, strong, powerful girls, all sort of doing it for themselves. And I really enjoyed the artwork, and I like the fact that there's sort of like these big portraits at the beginning of each sort of part of the book. As I said, I've already bought volume 2, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I didn't think I would when I looked at it. I was a bit like, oh, this is a bit comic-y for me. Like, I like graphic novels, but I'm not so much into comics. But I really loved it, and I actually, by the end, the artwork, which I thought was going to be a bit too sort of punchy and bright for me, really wasn't like that at all. I really loved it, so very much enjoyed this. Do have volume 2. If any of you guys have got any other graphic novels that have females at the front of them, I would very much enjoy that. What was the ones that people told me to read? Lumberjanes? Is that one? That's one I've been recommended. And then the other one, which I can't think, which is about non-conforming, and that's about women. But I can't remember what that's called. But yeah, really, oh, Bitch Planet, is that one? Just tell me which ones I should be reading. But loved this. And then the last book I read, so that was 5 stars. And I also gave this book 5 stars as well. Now this was Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This was the last book by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie I had to read, and it did not disappoint. This was probably, I would say this is my, yeah, so I loved Americana. That's like 5++. That's like one of my favourite books ever, but this was like 5+. I really loved it. So this tells the story of a young girl called Kambili. She's 15, and she's living in Nigeria while there's a sort of military coup going on. My phone has been going off all bloody time. I thought I made it silent. I've definitely made it silent this time. Her dad is a very wealthy and powerful Catholic man. He owns a series of factories, and he also has quite a lot to do with the local newspaper, and he's a man that gives a lot to charity, and he gives money and helps. He sends kids to school and things like that, and for one, like, from the surface, from an outsider, he's a wonderful man who can't help his family and his community enough. However, he is an extremely violent and unpredictable man too at home behind closed doors. And this sort of weighs up like what it's like to be an insider in that, and all Kambili wants to do is please her father and have her father say that she's done a wonderful job at church, and she's the best girl in class and things like that. But at the back of her mind is always the fact that he's incredibly violent and cruel and an arsehole. But from an outsider, he looks like the most giving and generous man ever. Now something happens where Kambili and her brother have to go and stay with her auntie for a bit, and she sort of like gets to know herself, really, Kambili does, apart from the person who she is just trying to please her father all the time. And I mean, I love Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I always go on about her, but I loved this. I really loved this, and I'm definitely going to be sort of forcing this in the hands of other people. Now, this was her first novel. This is amazing. I enjoyed, like, I love all her novels, but I enjoyed this much more than I did Half of Yellow Sun. So like as a debut novel, I just thought it was like wonderful. The writing is beautiful. The tension I felt every time I was reading something about Kambili and her father, or her just building up to it, I just felt so tense the whole time. She is an absolute masterpiece of a writer, and I will never stop loving her work. I absolutely love it, and just reading this is just reminding me how much I want to reread Americana, because I absolutely adore it and I adore her. So yeah, really loved Purple Hibiscus. Really thought it was something special. So those are the 4 books that I read in the last half of the month of February. My favourite book for the month is one that I reviewed at the beginning in my first half, and that is Big Bones by Laura Dockrill. I won't go on about this too much because I've really mentioned it a lot, but basically this is a YA book about a body positive 16-year-old. She is an amazing girl, amazing girl, and she's asked, she's told she's overweight and she doesn't care, but she suffers from asthma, and the nurse tells her to write a food diary, and this is her food diary. So it's just every chapter is told from a point of view of a piece of food. So millionaire's shortbread, so it might be that it's a memory of her when she was younger, or it's something her and her best friend have eaten before, or it's something she's making for her sister right then, and it's just a wonderful way to tell a story. And Bluebell's voice is amazing. Laura Dockrill, like, I just love her and love this. I really love this. And this is coming out on International Women's Day, which is the 8th of March. Now, I have a giveaway on my channel. Hotkey Books were kind enough to, they're going to send me a signed copy of this when it's out, and I can send that on to you guys. So if you would like to win a signed copy of Big Bones by Laura Dockrill, then I will link the giveaway video down below. Please go and watch that, and you could win a copy of this. So yeah, this was my favourite book for the month. Absolutely loved it. Special mention also to Eat Up by Ruby Tando, which is another book that I love this month. So yeah, amazing set of 12 books that I've read, I think it's 12, in the month of February. How did you guys get on with February? What did you guys read? Did you enjoy Femmeuary? Thank you so much to everyone who joined in, whether you picked up a book, one book by a female in the month of February, or whether you read all books by females, or I just had a wonderful time celebrating women, and it's definitely something that I'm going to be doing again. So thank you so much for joining me with that. And now I'm going to make sweet and sour cashew nuts with rice, because that's what I'm having for dinner. And I will see you all again soon for another booktube video. Goodbye!